Oh my god, this is a big surprise. They just pushed out a pretty massive patch that already includes the PvE desert. That's crazy. I thought this wouldn't happen for another few weeks. We can see all the new features and changes that have already been implemented that were promised in the message from the director earlier. We can see the entire southern half of the deep desert will now be a PvE area. This will be row A to half of row E. They've already gone and significantly nerfed the scout ornithopters with regards to rockets and their top speed. That's a huge one. And the quality of life that if you jump out mid-air, it's not just going to glide away on you. And already you can go visit different sietches and even claim a home there. There's a bunch of technical and stability fixes, including addressing some exploits and vulnerabilities. I've seen some crazy posts from hackers. Some guy stealing like the entire server's ornithopters and shoving them all here. So I seriously hope they've gone and fixed that. So that's pretty much the sum of what's happening with this update. But let's go through these things in a little bit more detail and see what that actually means for us playing the game. That change to the area in the deep desert is huge. Like half of the deep desert now, literally half, will just be PvE. This means any player with no interest in PvP should be able to find what they want here, including tier 6 testing station caves are now PvE. Just be aware the control points and the shipwrecks will still be PvP, similar to how shipwrecks are PvP in the Haga Basin. In order to retain risk versus reward in the deep desert, the density of resources increases the further you go north. 100% something I've found. You'll find a scattering of, say, titanium, stravidium around the D, E, F row. As soon as you get further out, all the way to like you can end up with just whole islands which are literally covered in those nodes, as I showed in a previous video. So the game will still preserve a bit of, yes, the best stuff coming from the PvP area, requiring a lot more risk to obtain. Now this map is not fully accurate. It does show stravidium and titanium only in the last 3 rows, but this is just where the density is the highest. I have personally just earlier farmed a bunch of stravidium and titanium again in D and E, which will be PvE for us, so you won't have to worry about other players there anymore. The larger spice fields, however, will still only be in PvP, and the majority of control points also exist in the northern part. They have changed it a bit, so don't expect this map to be fully accurate. The deep desert now offers PvE loot balanced towards shared loot and PvE activities. You may find better loot in the more dangerous PvP areas. In PvE, each player gets their own loot and can expect to receive one schematic. In PvP, loot is distributed on first comes, first served, with higher quantities of everything. Players can find 2 to 6 schematics among the rarest. Also, plasteel plates can only be found in PvP zones. I believe you can find them on loot dropships, and I have been gathering a bunch, but yes, all in the PvP section. The amount of active medium spice fields has also been reduced from 8 to 5, and the active number of small ones have gone from 20 to 22. The spawn rates of stravidium and titanium has been reduced in PvE areas, so large quantities only spawn far out in the PvP areas. And number of nodes in resource hotspots in PvE areas of the map has been reduced. And the respawn timer has been increased to 45 minutes for titanium and stravidium. Just be aware some Imperial testing stations are still a PvP region. Players who want all schematics available in the game will have to come to the PvP and PvE Imperial testing stations. Just keep in mind the loot rotates every week. So if you're not interested in PvP, you won't be able to get every single schematic in the game. There are currently 94 Plastinium product schematics, all of these unique items, and as they state, if you don't want to partake in PvP, you probably will need to go to the player exchange for some of these, as they'll most likely be limited only in PvP sections. Similarly, some will only be in PvE sections. Now, in terms of the vehicle changes, they have begun their work already with the changes to the Scout Ornithopters. Equipping rocket launcher module will now decrease the top speed, for a 20%. We can already see the effects of this change in game. Just have a look at the details of, say, your rockets. On the Scout, they now have that penalty. Minus 20% speed to the engine and also glide speed. So it will confirm your maximum speed is down 20% if you want to be using rockets. This is the same for the Assault Ornithopter with that 10% speed reduction. So yes, you as a player running, say, inventory should always be able to get away from anybody who is running those rockets. It also opens up the possibility to be able to actually run the Assault Ornithopter with the big inventory if you wanted to do so, because your speed will match that of a Scout. You will just have a bit less maneuverability, but you do have the advantage of being able to run a thruster. So you should be able to get away from them quicker, getting up in the air, and then having the same top glide speed means you should still have the ability to get away from them. They've also implemented already the change where if you exit your Ornithopter mid-air, it will drop straight down instead of gliding away. That will prevent some players where, yes, the Ornithopter would just fly off forever. They confirm they've seen the videos. There is an own issue, however. There is an edge case where if your vehicle ends up in the quicksand, you might not be able to interact with it if you are in the quicksand. The workaround is to try get on top of the vehicle to interact with it. This will be fixed in the next patch. Now again, you should have the ability to visit other sietches and now claim land there, so you can build and make that your new home. There was a fix in combat where players performing a melee attack could get obstructed by corpses lying on the ground, and a bunch of sandbike schematics failed to mention that Imperial testing grounds were the primary source. Additionally, they fixed an issue where players could use the Ornithopter pilot service to fly from cities to Haga Basin if they had arrived in the city with their Ornithopter. You could potentially lose your Ornithopter that way, I believe. And also, you will no longer lose learned emotes when respeccing your skill tree. So yes, unexpected patch that we're already getting. I did not think they would implement these changes literally after announcing them just the other day. The dynamic in the deep desert will already be changing. Don't be afraid to go out there. You have a far broader range, which is now PvE. Again, opening up the end game for a ton of players who did not want to engage in PvP. So many thanks to all my channel members for your extra support. If you're new around here, consider subscribing. And if this was somewhat insightful, consider leaving the video a like. We'll see you guys around. Goodbye for now.